What's up, guys? Back with another video. I just wanted to talk about this real quick. A lot of you may already be aware, a few days ago, Nintendo announced the new Nintendo 2DS XL. Now, some background on me real quick. I haven't had the most extensive history with Nintendo products. As a kid growing up, I've played a few of their handheld devices, a few games here and there. I'd never, up until the Wii U, have ever purchased a Nintendo product because my interests were elsewhere. The kinds of games I like to play and my sensibilities were just different from what Nintendo was putting out. One of the things about Nintendo that I've never really been into is their sense of style. It's not for me, just in terms of the way they like to fashion their products, the look of some of their stuff. Not everything. Some of the stuff they have is pretty cool. Like back when I was a kid, I had a silver flip Game Boy Advance. That thing was actually pretty cool, right? It's like a flip phone kind of design. That was pretty cool. Speaking of flip phone, right? This new Nintendo 2DS XL, it's funny because it has a design that to me is very contrary to how I feel Nintendo usually approaches their products. I've never really been the biggest fan of their sensibilities for design in a number of ways, but this new device, it's very contrary to me of what I feel Nintendo is. To me, when I look at this device, this Nintendo 2DS XL, it just looks so much cooler and sleeker than I usually associate with Nintendo. When I see something I like, I'm just like, it inspired me to want to talk about it. I'm like, it looks interesting to me. It looked kind of dope. It looked the really sleek design. It actually, I mentioned before the whole flip phone thing with the silver Game Boy Advance that I had. But if you look at the Nintendo 2DS XL, when you flip it up, the top portion, if you turn it on its side, it looks exactly like a phone, like a touchscreen smartphone, which is actually pretty interesting. So where they got their design from, it looks like it's following current trends in terms of design, and I'm okay with that. It looks really nice. Like I said, I think this is the best looking Nintendo piece of hardware I think I've ever seen, and that's just the look of it. Now, I wanted to talk a bit about maybe who this might be geared for from my perspective. I've heard some people who are Nintendo fans talk about who they think it's geared for, but I wanted to, as someone who's not a Nintendo fan per se, who is on the outside looking in, to give their perspective on what I think they're trying to do. I think they're basically trying to engage people like myself. If you're already a Nintendo fan, maybe you just for some reason you feel like you need to buy or want to buy a whole new DS again. You bought the previous one, you bought the one before that, I don't know how many there have been. I remember there was a DS, there was a 3DS, which probably could play games that the other DS couldn't. I'm not sure. Then there was another one, which was, I think, called the new 3DS, and it didn't come with a charger or something like that. So it's just like, all right, if maybe you are that big of a fan, you got all those. I don't know. But if you're not gonna keep buying them, then it's like, well, that's not the money. They're not gonna get more money from you from that, right? From this thing, right? You already have two or three other DSs or one other DS, and you don't need another one. You're like, what's the point for you, right? You can play all the games you would want to play that are compatible with that device. So then who would it be for? Well, for someone like myself, right? If I look at a company and I ask myself, well, whenever you put time and effort into and money into designing something new, creating something new, even if it is based on old hardware, you're taking time and effort, and you're taking people to design and create a new product in some fashion. That's time and effort, that's money spent. So then they're obviously looking to make a profit with this. They know that this device is really successful, the previous ones where they have such a large install base. So what are they trying to do? And my thinking is they want to tap into an audience that they haven't quite tapped into before. Why else would you do this, right? You want to expand your brand as much as possible. So I think they're trying to capture others like myself who hasn't jumped onto this whole DS bandwagon yet. They want to get people who maybe that might be older or not really as invested with Nintendo as a brand, maybe not so invested in the Switch right now. You know, they don't want to, they're maybe looking at other devices instead. And they're looking at, maybe look at this for the price point. This one is 150. I think the previous one was like 200 and something. So that's really not bad at all, especially when you consider the library of games that I'm sure it has. If one were to look at this library of games that the DS must have at this point. And so it's an easier kind of entry point to getting into a Nintendo, into some of these Nintendo IPs and some of these third-party games that they may have on there, and just getting a Nintendo product in your hands, while at the same time it's a very polished, very pristine looking device that for people who have an eye for that kind of thing, or even if you don't, it's hard to deny it's a nice looking unit, right? And so I think that it really draws you in. One of the things that I actually own is a Vita. And the Vita, one of the things that I really liked about it was how nice it was. It looked really sophisticated. It was a very sexy looking unit. It drew my attention to it. Now, I didn't get it right away. I waited until I had a lot more games for it. But I really liked the design of it. And I'm not really a hardware guy. I don't really usually care that much about the way hardware looks. But there's rare cases where there's just some sexy looking designs. And the Vita was one of them. This is another one. And I feel like it has much more of a sophisticated, sleek look. I think they're trying different tactics to tap into a new market, into a new audience, I should say. Maybe not a new market, it's the same market, but a new audience. So I'm actually, you know, I'm thinking about maybe picking it up. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, it actually looks kind of cool. Or at least I was, until I realized the one I wanted actually is possibly not available in America, because apparently the one that we're gonna have here in the States is a black and teal colored one, which is actually really dope looking. Don't get me wrong. But then I saw there was a white and orange one, and I was just like, that one looks creamy. Like it looks smooth. Like it looks delicious. Like it looks like sherbet. Like you could just eat it. Like it looks like a sherbet ice cream pop. Like it looks so good. I want that one. And I found out it was Japanese exclusive, from my understanding. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got a Japanese Vita because I really like the look of that particular color, because they had more colors, more designs in Japan, but that's region free. From my understanding, the DS is region locked, and that is kind of a problem. And so the fact that I can't have it makes me want it even more, and I'm just like, well, maybe I won't get it, you know? So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they will come out with new colors here in the States. It'll encourage me to want to go ahead and think more on potentially picking up Nintendo 2DS XL. But that's just some of my thoughts on it. You know, it's a really nice looking unit. I think they are trying to kind of capitalize on the success of the DS overall. You know, I've heard that there's potentially a mini Switch coming out, Nintendo Switch. So I think they probably are, like a lot of people are saying, that the Switch is going to be their all-in-one kind of device. You know, it's going to be the console and the handheld, and they're not going to need a Nintendo DS anymore. But I guess instead of just dumping the DS, they're kind of going for like their last hoorah. You know, they're going out in a blaze of glory with the DS, because they know it has such a large fan base and a large install base. And they want to have the nicest, most polished, most streamlined version without any gimmicks before, you know, they stop supporting it, I guess. You know, and it looks nice. I just wish I could get that white and orange one without region lock. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the Nintendo 2DS XL. Let me know what you guys think about it. You know, if the white and orange one's not region locked, you know, hey, you know, let me know if they do plan on coming out with that color here, or some other new colors. You know, let me know. And yeah, guys, see you in the next video.